I think one of the beautiful things about hunting chamois in this kind of country as a solo hunter is the freedom to move where you want, stop hunting when you feel like, everything on your pack, ready to camp. Boy, it's hot today, but at least I've got the drop in terms of altitude, so we'll push on. When you're hunting alpine animals like the chamois, you'll get onto them when they're feeding. Quite often this is in the evening, and I like to be able to just stop hunting where I finish my day out rather than having to make my way back to a fixed camp. For this I use a lightweight Cuban fibre shelter. It just weighs 119 grams, is very compact and sets up in just a few minutes. Great shelter on the tops, especially from the dew and from the wind. And you get a bit of an open view as well, rather than being locked in under a tent. Also use a blow-up lightweight air mat, and you can see my setup here of a finished camp. I've used this system from as far away as Fiordland, South Westland, and in my Nelson home tops. As you can see, very small, quite compact. In the past I used a one-man bivvy bag with a hoop pole, and this was very effective too. Most often though, I'd like to just find some shelter that's handy. Here's a rock bivvy, for example, that my friends and I found in South Westland. We even saw that it had been used a long time ago. Found some old 303 ammunition and a real old axe and some engraving on the walls. Sleeping mats insulate you from the ground, help keep you warm. There's a couple of my cobber's mats. This doubles as a river raft. Just joking. My sleeping bag just has down on the top and hoops underneath to put over your mat so it stops it from slipping. And I'll also sometimes use waterproof Tyvek builder's paper as a ground sheet, and this can double as a fly on the tops as well. For food preparation, the jet boil system of cookers is a really efficient option for a solo hunter. They use gas. For myself, I prefer to use a small homemade cooker made from recycled beer cans. This all fits inside my cup and is quite efficient. It's a meths cooker and uses very little fuel and is extremely lightweight and does the job at heating everything that a solo hunter would need for a meal. I've made my own shield, which keeps it even more efficient out in the tops when there might be a bit of breeze. And you can see this is heating away quite strongly if I take away the shield. Everything fits inside this cup. Most hunters will use something like a gas cooker, and as long as you have lightweight pots, this is a good option also. Mainly because we're all eating dehydrated meals such as these. Of course, part of the enjoyment of hunting is making your own lightweight cookers and food. So here I am grinding up some meat from a previous hunt that's going to form the base of my own lightweight dehydrated meals. For the rest of this video, I'd like to show you how that process works and maybe provide you some options that you could consider adapting for your own use. What we've got going on here is a bit of a cook up. We're preparing a chili con carne mix, and the mince in here is it's actually tar meat, nanny tar, so there's going to be a bit of a tar go round on this trip. Tar mince from a previous trip's going to be feeding us while we replenish the meat stocks in the freezer. And what we'll do once this is all cooked up is we'll dehydrate it, and up in the hills that'll be combined with a bit of rice, the old Uncle Ben's in a bag rice, and add my dehy meal, and good to go. Pretty good when you're getting your own meat. In goes a whole lot of tomatoes from the garden that weren't going too well. And oh look, we're cooking with gas! Cooking with gas! It's all going here. There you have it. Tar chili con carne. Good stuff. Now, aside from cooking up a full mix like of chili con carne and then dehydrating the whole thing, the other option I use, and leaning a bit more towards, because it gives me a bit more variety, is dehydrating components like the mince, which I have here. That's a kilo of mince all dehydrated down. I'll show you that in a minute. Cooking some rice and then dehydrating that. I've got a whole lot of red onion here that's been dehydrated. What's this one? Oh yeah, we've got in there peppers. So things like that, yellow peppers, orange peppers, dehydrate them all, mushrooms the same, and then make up meal packs. And I want to show you that now. And when I make the meal packs, I make them up with all of those ingredients in, sealed up. But then I also will take into the hills with me a few snap lock bags with those other components in them. So like some red onions in there, some of the leftover other onions, some dried up mandarins, maybe some of these already dehydrated peas, etc. And then I can add those into other meals as I go, into live meat, stews or whatever if I do that, but also particularly in my case, because I'm cooking out of just one cup, I'll use those to add zest
to dehy mesh spud, or even to chuck into a straight macaroni with cheese grated in there, just to give it some flavour and a little bit of a lift. So I want to show you me making up one of those meals now, so you've got the idea. I put plenty of salt in this when I was cooking it, because you're losing sweat in the hills, and there's not adding salt later on. So I know there's a kilogram of mince in there, so I'm going to divide this into 3 meals, which is going to be good for two people. A couple of the flavours I like using is actually just this mild curried sausages. That's a great meal. You can treat mince as chicken and call it butter chicken if you like. That goes down alright. There's my old chili con carne, but I already got lots of that already made up from big potfuls of it, as you saw in the other method. So let's go with the mild curried sausages. There's about so there's about half a cup of all of that there together. So we've got to divide that into a third. So we'll do it the way that you guys do it. Guy cooks, they always just do, oh, that's about right. About that much. I know there's a couple of scoops of this. Right, that's that. In here is going to go some peas. Half a cup of peas. That's a good lot for 2 fellas. There, that's peas. Now let's add some boost to this. So I've got here some, while I had the dehydrator going, I had some mushrooms happening. I'm not going to put that many mushrooms in there. But keeping I'll divide this in 3 and then keep some over in a separate bag, as I mentioned, that can go to enhancing the dehy spuds. So that's mushrooms. Ooh, bit of just dehydrated up different coloured peppers. We'll do that there as well. Oh, I want a bit more in there. Bit of red onion. Even though I've already cooked this with onion, I'm going to add a bit more onion. My favourite use for this red onion actually is just not for any gourmet kind of colour, but with grated cheese and red onion in with mashed spud, pretty nice. Bit of that, and final touch, I've been to the mum's cupboard, well, it's my cupboard too, and a few sultanas in there, can't hurt. The recipe talks about 2 teaspoons of sultanas for the whole of that curried sausage mix, but I'm getting generous because sultanas have got quite a lot of bulk in them, and add quite a lot of sweetness and good yummy stuff. Finally added to that, make a bit of a clear space here so you can see well, is this is rice that's been cooked then dehydrated. Now you may say, well, that's just back to rice, which it is. The good thing about that though is all it has to do is rehydrate, so it doesn't take any time to cook. All that any of this food has to do is rehydrate and then be heated. So what I'll do is I'll put it in some water that's soaking while I'm fluffing around, putting up tent, doing something else, maybe getting water on for a drink, because at the end of the day, a good drink, and then I'm ready to go with heating this up and then letting it sit for 10-15 minutes and then good to eat. Minimal fuel, as you'll see, because I'm just using a beer can cooker or a little solid mix hex tab, so it's heating really, using minimal fuel, heating easily. All the cooking is in the warm water soaking, minimal weight in terms of carrying fuel, and hopefully minimal weight in terms of carrying the food. one container, so I went away to get that. And then that's just a simple matter of getting that in the bag. I have found it useful to double bag some of these meals as well. Reason being, you sometimes it's stuffed in somewhere and you get it poked and then you lose your stuff from the bag. But just as an extra precaution, as a tip, double bagging it. In that goes. Seal up. I'll seal up both bags. So just to put all that together with the dehydrated meals, I can cook a big pot of chili con carne, dehydrate that down, vacuum pack it, put it in the freezer to help it keep food safety wise, or I can take the components like mushrooms and onions and mince, dehydrate those separately and then make them up into meals as we've done here today. Probably the only extra thing I would add into evening meals on a longer trip would be at the end of our first couple of hard days, I might also add in protein powder. You get the big Weighmax and you put it down into a small container and you take that along just to have as a drink, just to help speed recovery. Anyway, that's enough on food. You'll get to see me enjoying it up on the hill. I'll be chasing after these. This is a friend's chamois, one of his early ones, over 12 inches long, world class. Let's hope we get to see some of those out on the hill. Enjoy. Yeah, so solo hunting for chamois. Got everything in my pack, including that dehydrated food, that lightweight shelter and sleeping bag and mat. And pretty much I can stop now at any part of the day and camp where I finish hunting. If you can travel light, that gives you an advantage. Oh, we better keep going.